Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. So it's early in the morning, and I'm gonna try to keep my voice down. I am pretty sure you'll be able to hear me, so I'll try to keep it at this tone here. But I wanted to kind of weigh in on, from afar, the uh, perception of the Wack 100 Tekashi 6ix9ine academics um, conversation. I say from afar because I'm not going to approach the conversation from a perspective of somebody who has a skin in the game, or somebody who's affiliated with any groups, any cards, anything like that. I'm a civilian, so there ain't gonna be no, oh, he's hanging out with a snitch. That's not where I come from. I think my point of view is to kind of respond to people who are saying that, to be honest. And my thing is, Wack 100, and I made a video about Wack 100 a long time ago, maybe a year and a half ago. It might have been a year and a half ago, where I don't even remember what it was that I was addressing, but it was something that he may have said that prompted me to make a video. And I told the truth. I just felt like he had not been displaying himself at that time in the light that I thought he should, and I just voiced my opinion from where I sit. Notwithstanding, today, that's not how I feel about this particular situation. I looked at it from two different perspectives. The first perspective is, if Wack 100 is trying to get into the talking space and the interview space, which is a worthy field to jump into, a positive field to jump into, a lane that I think he can thrive in, just based on his personality and his unique take on life and his unique perspective as it pertains to where he come from and how he gets down, plus his temperature as it pertains to understanding when something is a publicity draw, when something can garnish attention, and cut and dry. He's made the decision to kind of forego some of what we would consider dignity, what I would consider dignity, for the publicity and for the bag, right? Now, there's many ways to look at that and say, yo, he's faking the funk. He's out here doing something. He's not living up to his persona. La, la, la. Oh, this man ain't got no integrity. He don't give a damn about the people he grew up around. Whatever people's opinions are in regards to this. And my thing is, well, if I'm gonna speak on one side of my mouth, saying people like Lil Durk need to try to find themselves into more safer spaces to try to keep their circumstances less violent or around them, less capable of violence being around them, that kind of thing. People like that need to try to venture away from certain things. And then I look at a guy like Wack 100 and say, yo, you need to stay true to the streets. You need to take, no, I gotta stay consistent. I think if I'm gonna ask one person who might be involved in something that could be a little deadly, little dangerous, to try to protect themselves and find their way into a space that'll work for them, I can say the same thing here. So even though it's two different people, two different circumstances, the overall opinion still stays the same. When you're involved in street stuff and you get to a certain point, you want to venture away from it, you can't allow people from the outside or different mindsets or different points of views to keep you from doing that positive thing, or getting out of that negative thing, or however that's equated in this conversation. I feel like he's trying to get away from being behind the scenes and being someone who just works with artists and works with behind the scenes stuff, however it go. And he's trying to get himself into a space where he can have his own notoriety, be seen as somebody in this space, being seen as somebody who can just sit in front of a microphone and interview individuals. So I feel like that's a positive thing for a person to get into, from any walk of life. And I feel like shunning him for trying to jump into something new is hypocritical for those who truly understand what it is I'm saying here. Just because you come from a gangster background or whatever does not mean that you can't hop into the civilian world and do things differently and make a bag. And if there are people out there who don't like that, I would say take a look at the fact the man got kids. Take a look at the fact the man got a wife. Take a look at the fact that he's had people trying to shoot at him just as recently as 2 years ago. Like, at some point in time, you gotta try to get out of a shit that's gonna leave you in that space. Not to say that I know what he's trying or trying not to do, but what I am saying is this looks like a person trying to distance themselves from any opportunity of that happening. Now, some would say that's the complete opposite. He's dealing with 6ix9ine, now he's gonna get more heat. But what I'm saying is this: when you do an interview with somebody as polarizing as Tekashi 6ix9ine, it's gonna garner more attention than probably sitting down with probably any other 3 human beings who are famous right now. There is no one more intriguing in this era than Tekashi 6ix9ine. Whether you love him or hate him, he's been the most interesting character outside of probably Donald Trump of the last 4 years. So you gotta respect that. As I said, Wack 100 is taking the temperature of the room. He understands the temperature, and he knows what it is that he needs to do. Not only that, but given his ties to different cards and different parts of the streets, I think he would be more of a reasonable person to sit in front of Tekashi 6ix9ine than maybe someone like myself, who's not from that world, who doesn't have skin in the game, if you know what I mean. You know, being that he's from the same card as those Tekashi 6ix9ine exploited, because that's how I see it. I would want someone from that side of the fence to look Tekashi and 6ix9ine in the eye and ask him whatever the questions would be. You know, rather than just have somebody who really doesn't understand the importance and the significance of what it is that Tekashi 6ix9ine was involved in, trying to gain some information or gain some understanding. Nah, it should be somebody from that side of the fence who understands what it is, who has people affiliated with around them or what have you in their circle, who can relay to Tekashi 6ix9ine the feelings of whatever it is that they feel. You feel me? That's where I'm coming from. You know, so I think it's fitting that he sit down with him. And I also look at it from a different perspective as well. When you get to a point where you're watching people blow up quickly, you look to your left, you see Kwame Brown. You look to your right, you see other characters, African American characters, getting in this space and blowing up overnight for whatever they're talking about. There's a bag to be had. You know, there are opportunities for people, and if you already have a jump start with some celebrity, which Wack already has, it should be easy, just like with Kwame Brown. It should be easy for you to take that celebrity and parlay it into an audience. And if you would couple that with the most interesting person in the world, technically, you have what could be record-breaking views. And that's the name of the game, you know, to get views, to get numbers. Now, the integrity aspect of it, those who feel differently, those who are in the streets saying he's betraying stuff, again, I'm a civilian. It's only so much of that I can really even understand. But what I can say to you is, who would you rather sit down with him? You know what I mean? Who would you rather sit down with? Do you want him to sit down with somebody outside of the culture? Do you want him to sit down with a serious person who may put themselves in jail trying to get to this guy? like 6ix9ine say the wrong thing and it turns left? Is that the type of person you want to sit down with? No, I would rather 6ix9ine sit down with somebody who has the troll persona, who understands the value in what 6ix9ine brings to the table. Because a lot of us, including myself, may not be able to see it the way a guy like Wack 100 sees it. You know, he sees it from a certain angle because he kind of lives the troll life himself. He trolls quite a bit, so there's a lane for that, and I think he recognizes that aspect of it as well. So, all in all, this whole talk about, oh, he's sitting down next to a snitch, he shouldn't be doing that. What you want me to do, man? You know, and I say this respectfully because I think I understand the angle from which a decision like this was made. But I think Wack 100 let go of all that type of integrity a long time ago. He chose the bag. He chose the bag. And I think when you get to a certain age, you've seen enough. You've been through enough. You deal with the IRS, you deal with whatever you deal with. Not speaking specifically to anything he may be going with, but just older guys deal with a lot. You get to a point where a lot of that stuff, that rah-rah stuff, stops mattering, man. When the bills start coming in, Uncle Sam start knocking on your door. When you start going through certain losses, you take certain losses in life. You start realizing that whole bravado, rah-rah stuff, it don't pay the bills. It doesn't. Now, I'm not saying that every man is built like that who can just drop certain types of integrity, who can just say, you know what, I'm going all in for the bag and whatever comes with it, comes with it. But I can guarantee you he'll be able to leave his family something for it. He'll be able to leave, he'll have a legacy of finances that should be backed by some of the sacrifice he made in that way. Now, there are ways to get in the bag. You don't have to do that. You know what I mean? Not everybody has to do that. I don't think most people have to do that. But if you find a lane that you can live with and you can make a way from it, a person like myself who may not be able to appreciate it should be able to at least stand to the side and say, I see what you're trying to do. I may not be able to involve myself in it from a moral perspective, but I see what you're trying to do, and I can stay out the way. And I think that's what a lot of us need to do in regards to this situation. Don't get your feelings wrapped up in this. If Wack 100 stood up here and said to all of us, yo, I would never troll. I don't mean no trolling. When I see this, I'm going to do that. He's not doing that. He's not doing that. He's essentially showing us he's about the troll life. He's essentially showing us he's about the bag, and he's going after it. And there are a lot of people I think about, and I don't mean a lot, but I mean there are people in this space. Think about academics. Think about DJ Vlad. Think about the media. Some people would look at individuals like that and say they're soulless. And for a long time, I looked at people like that and said they didn't have any integrity. They don't bring forth what we need that can help us, because all they're trying to do is just show us what's hot. And if it's negative, we take it. If it's positive, we take it. But it's all they're going to be interested in doing is giving us the news as exaggerated or as emphasized as possible. And for me, it's like I don't look to those people to have a soul. Respectfully, they're not going to have a soul. They're going to give you the news. They're going to give you what's going to be sensationalized. They're going to focus their attention on what's going to bring them the numbers. And once the numbers come down, then they receive what it is that matters to them in terms of integrity. It's the production. That's the dignity part of it. When they receive what it is that they're aiming for, that's what it's about. Not the path to get there, not what they have to sacrifice in terms of your opinion or how they're viewed. None of that matters. It's about the production. So when you understand what they're after and how the machine that is them works, you don't allow yourself to personalize how they get there. You just say, that's a person who could give two craps about what it is that matters to me as it pertains to how I'm viewed. But what they're trying to get, I would be happy to have, so let them go after it. That's how I look at it, man. You can't personalize trolling. You can't feed the trolls. You can't look at them and say, yo, they need to be thinking like me. You can't look at them and say, yo, they don't represent themselves the way they should. And they're trolls, fam. They're trolls. And what they're after is not what you're after. But in this case, I feel like I said, this is somebody who's trying to provide for their family and make a positive way. And that's ultimately what we want. However you get there is your business. But if you can find your way into a positive space away from all the drama, away from the conflict, away from all the negativity, away from opportunities to throw yourself in prison, that's the way to go. I really believe that. Now, on the flip side, some would say, well, if you get too close to somebody like Tekashi 6ix9ine, you're gonna fall into the mix. However that goes, you might get involved in whatever he's involved in. But if you're approaching it from a speaker's perspective, or what is the word, interviewer's perspective, he's not approaching it from I'm a man approaching a man's perspective. It's I'm a microphone and he's going to speak into this microphone and I'm going to deliver the news to the people. So if he's approaching it that way, it's not to be blended in with the other aspect of it, if you ask me. So that's what I got to say, man. It's a lot, but it ain't that serious. I'm going to watch the interview. I'm going to be compelled by it. Like I said, I think Tekashi 6ix9ine is one of the more compelling people on earth. He controls the room as well as anyone, so I know it's going to be a compelling interview. But at the same time, this is somebody who did some things that I can't get with. And I think I've spoken on some of those things, but I just felt like, and I'll say it again, he exploited the people that he's been with the way his story has been told is as if he was the one exploited, and that wasn't the case. It was if he was the one taken advantage of. That's not what happened. What I saw there was a very, very intelligent individual who saw a group of people who were living a street life, possibly in poverty in some cases, and he found a way to get protection out of them, right? And make himself relevant by attaching himself to their gang, to their card, and the situation got a lot deeper than he thought it would. It maybe not as deep as he thought it would. Maybe he thought it would get as deep rather, but he saw it through. And when the situation got to a point where it got hot, he turned his attention to another facet of people who could protect him, just like these people were supposed to in his case. And those people were the U.S. government. I think one of two things happened there. Either he was placed there by some people in the government who wanted to infiltrate hip-hop and, continue this path of the hip-hop police thing that they got going on in New York that's been going on since the Biggie days, where they just round up all these rappers and all these individuals that attach to rappers in these streets and try to clean up the streets that way. That's one way to do it. Or you can look at it from a different perspective to where, Tekashi 6ix9ine just kind of was a kid who didn't know what type of forces he was dealing with, but was smart enough to manipulate those forces just the same, and got too deep, and from there needed the help of the police just like anybody else who would call him. You can look at it however way you want to look at it, but the way I saw it was he was very calculated. He understood what he needed to do. He had a plan in place from the beginning, whether he placed that plan in place or someone else did behind him, and they executed it to perfection. And now this is another phase of that. This is afterward. But the way that whole situation played out, I don't know, man. I just think that there's a lot more going on there than even the public is aware of. I think probably more people talked. I think there was more than just one person speaking than Tekashi. But that's just me, bro. At the end of the day, my concern with that situation was just, when you leave yourself out there to speak about stuff and activities and be labeled as a snitch, righteously labeled, you leave your family in danger. That was always my thing with Daniel Hernandez 6ix9ine. That was always my thing. You left your family, those that you are related to, in the crosshairs of those who are not smart enough to stay out of it. People who are going to want to involve themselves in situations for a plethora of reasons. They would want to get involved and try to attack you for what you did, try to kill you for what you did, maybe even try to kill your family for what you did. That's the type of thing that I felt Daniel did a poor job of protecting his family from, in involving him in this situation and talking and having it play out the way he did. But his kids are still alive, his baby mama's still alive, so I guess he found a way to protect them too. But at the end of the day, man, I don't feel like a man is supposed to ever put his family in that type of situation. A man isn't supposed to ever leave his kids to answer for his decisions, especially as it pertains to betraying some very, very, very serious people. So that was why I have a problem with how that played out. But I also understand that this was a young dude who was not ready for what it is he was responsible for. And had he been the age I am right now, I think he handles all of this very differently. So there's a part of me that understands that responsibility is only best in the hands of the wise. And when you're young and you're acting without wisdom, these are the type of things that you leave unprotected, your family. So yeah, man, I think I've said more than enough. At the end of the day, I will be watching this interview, and I'm not mad at nobody in regards to making this interview. I think it's worthy content, and I think Wack is the right guy doing it, to be honest. So that's my opinion. If you disagree, God bless. What am I gonna say? That's okay. Peace.